Now we're going to chapter 6. Now this is where it gets really interesting, and we only have 15 minutes, but it gets really interesting. Because everything that you're going to see in Revelation 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, culminating in 19, Jesus said you would start seeing it around you. Because what's happening in Revelation is just all the normal stuff we have on earth, like famines and floods. What are we having right now in the Appalachian area? Generational floods in America. We've always had floods. They're having a bigger one right now, and it's horrible. But all those little things, dust storms, locust plagues, pollution, hot days, scarcity of water, whatever, all the things that have always been, God allows all of them at the same time to start escalating. And he said, you will know, we'll cover this Monday or Tuesday. Jesus said, the generation that sees all the things I said are going to be happening when I return, the generation, the group that lives for that time period, that sees not some, not most, but all the things that I have said, that generation will not pass away until I return. See, that was his answer to the disciples. They said to him, how do we know when you're coming back? He said, you can know. The generation that lives, here, I'll just tell you one. Do you know what Jesus said? The final generation will be characterized by the ability to kill everybody on earth. How did people kill people on earth up until 1945? Well, they shot a bullet or they dropped a bomb and you had to be in range of the bomb. Before that, they shot arrows and you had to be within range of the arrows. They threw spears or they threw rocks. You know what I mean? Or they galloped on a horse and got you with their weapon. But while you were getting one person with an arrow, a rock, or a spear, the rest were running that way. You never could get them all. That's why people have survived all the wars until 1945, when they dropped on August 6th, the first thermonuclear explosion, the first atomic bomb. And it became hotter than the sun's surface, and it just melted and vaporized people, even the ones that were hiding underground, because it got them. And that was just the first millisecond. After that, the concussive, the way the air sucked out, it just suffocated all the rest that were hiding in non-pressurized, 100, 200 feet below the ground. It's unbelievable. We finally got in 1945 the beginning of what Jesus talked about, he said, if I don't return, everyone will be killed because earth will be so bad, they'll have what we call today, we've given it a polite name, WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. But we'll cover all that Tuesday. So lost humanity believes in evolution and denies biblical creationism. So chapter 6 is when the Creator shows them his power. Earth dwellers worship Mother Earth, so God allows natural disasters to start amplifying at every level. And that's where the scroll comes. So first seal, and here, we'll just go through them. And when the Lamb opened one of the seals, I heard, notice this unbroken event. Now I saw, and when I looked, verse 2, boom. And then when he opened the second seal, boom. And when he opened the third seal, boom. And when he opened the fourth seal, boom. This is a shooting script. This is like a movie. You're reading, and it's happening one after another. This is really amazing to see how God does it. And what he does is he allows the unleashing of his plan, the white horse. Notice a crown was given to him, and he went out and he conquered. But he who sat on it had a bow. He doesn't even have arrows. How does he conquer the whole world without shooting any arrows? This is what was promised all the way through the Old Testament, all the way through Paul's epistles. Finally, we're going to have the Jesus everybody wanted instead of the one God sent. Nobody wanted him. The whole world rejected him. This guy is going to give everybody what they want. The Antichrist is going to be the single most indwelt by Satan person ever. Satan is the most powerful and smartest creature God ever made, and that person is going to get all of that inside of him. You know what I think they're going to do? They're probably going to solve all the problems. They're certainly going to solve the Arab-Israeli problem, the Islam versus Israel problem. They're going to solve that. They're going to solve probably everything. Probably the plagues, everything. I mean, Satan is very smart. But we'll cover that when we get to chapter 13. And then the second seal, as soon as the whole world is following this leader, then war breaks out. And then the third seal, the black horse, famine breaks out. But the one that really gets me is the next horse, the fourth horse. It's the pale horse. In Greek, this is an interesting word, chloros. Kind of sounds like the English word what? Chlorine. You know, that they put in pools, you know. It's chlorine is the gas they used in World War I that is so deadly. It's part of salt, you know, NaCl, there's the chlorine part. But it's a pale green horse, chloros. That's the color of chlorine gas. And if you ever saw it in World War II, you were dead because it was coming your way, and it's so deadly. But this pale horse, the horse of death, because he who sat on it was death, and Hades followed him, and power was given them over a fourth. How many people live right now on earth? About 8 billion. 2 billion people die in this time period at the launch of the tribulation. Unbelievable. How are they killed? Well, the sword, that's the warfare. Hunger, that's the black horse. Death, and by the beasts of the earth? What is that? Lions? The alligators all come out of the alligator pond, right? Right? No. Do you know what? How much time we have? Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who lived in the Netherlands, was a scientist. He was actually an optician. He was making eyeglasses, and one day on his coffee break or whatever, he took 2 eyeglass parts and went like this, and he went, oh. And he realized by taking these lenses, he had this telescope thing, and then he went out on his coffee break to the canals of Netherlands, and he took his 2 lenses. This is in the 1600s. And he wrote in his journal, I have discovered beasties. That's how they said beasts back then. Beasties. He had a microscope, and he's credited, Anton van Leeuwenhoek is the father of microscopes. And he saw for the first time in 1 drop of pond water, did you know in 1 drop of pond water out in the alligator pond, there are 500 million infusoria? Go drink some. No, don't. It's very bad. Infusoria. I mean, they're vertebrate, non-vertebrate. Some of them have 1,000 sac stomachs, and there are 500 million of them in a drop. Unbelievable. I mean, people spend their whole lives doing that. Some of those beasts get out. Hey, let's look at the news here. This is from here. This is Tampa. I clipped this out of the newspaper for you. U.S. man dies after using tap water to rinse his nose. It's commonly called the brain-eating amoeba because it causes a brain infection when water containing the amoeba goes up his nose. That was March of 2023. That was when I was teaching here. During this class 2 years ago, someone in Tampa died from getting tap water up their nose. You know, they have those salt things, you know, to help you when you have a cold or something. It's called Naegleria fowleri. It's the brain-eating amoeba. You can't see it, but if you get it up your nose from water in Tampa at that day, watch out. That was tap water, by the way. That was public, out of the faucet water. And that man died because that amoeba, you know, your nose has so much capillation, it goes right into your bloodstream. That's why people snort cocaine and everything else, you know. It goes right up to your brain, and it killed him. Can you imagine? Naegleria fowleri is not a real bad one. There are some pathogens that have a lethality rate that is so high that it scares every scientist that gets near them. Can you imagine when those things are just running wild? You can imagine. History tells us. Look at this. The plague of Justinian, he was a Roman emperor from 541 to 542. 30 to 50 million people in the Roman Empire died because of contamination that spread around. The Spanish flu, you've probably heard of that, in 1918, right at the end of World War II. I mean, that was a lethal, rapidly spreading. You think COVID was bad? How many people died of COVID? 1.1 million. How many people died of the Spanish flu? 50 times. You remember COVID? You guys are old enough to remember that. Smallpox in 1520. I mean, we're talking about right after Martin Luther pounded those theses in 1517, 3 years later. Look. Smallpox killed 56 million. And then 1347 to 1351, the Black Death swept. The outbreak wiped out 30 to 50% of Europe's population. It took more than 200 years for the continent's population to come back up. And this is going to be dwarfed 10 times worse in the tribulation launch. Wow.